So, Beast Wars was #1 trending on Twitter for a bit a few days ago. The reason being that they're making a new movie. We touched on Beast Wars in a few of our recent videos, so it might be worth explaining what that is. Also, how strong is Cheetor? This video is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
Okay, so Beast Wars and Transformers is in the future. Two spaceships are in laser fight before they get sucked through a black hole.
Quantum warp.
Whatever. And they end up crash landing into a prehistoric Earth-like planet. There are two main differences. First off, there are two moons, so it's definitely not Earth. Second off, there's all this energon crystal stuff everywhere that puts out background radiation that would kill the Transformer robots. Using technology from their ships, both teams realize that the local wildlife seems to survive fine, so they just scan them and turn it into them?
For all intents and purposes, when the Transformer is in beast mode, they literally are that animal. The flesh and blood shields their inner robot parts from the radiation, but in exchange, they have to do things like eat and sleep now. The Transformers can bleed. It's crazy. The writers noted that they were very specific that the animal modes were the same as the living animal, which is why they didn't include any fish formers or anything.
So Cheetor is a rookie on an exploration ship. They were really just supposed to collect soil samples, but he's a hotshot Captain Kirk type, so when he sees a giant wasp, he goes in guns blazing. Turns out that wasp was another Transformer, Waspinator. They never really explain why they all changed their names to be like the animal names, but whatever. Both teams find each other and show off their cool new animal and robot modes that you can buy in stores now. If by now you mean 1996. The Maximals are led by Optimus Primal, and the Predacons are led by Megatron, but neither of them are related to the Red Truck or Silver Gun guys. It's complicated.
Right, so Megatron, the purple dinosaur dude, has this golden Voyager disc, which by the way is a real thing we launched into space in 1977 that has the coordinates to Earth and some animal sounds, and someone drew some naked people on it. Dinobot walks up to Megatron, who is a purple dinosaur now, and is just like, oof. Yikes, Chief. This ain't it. Just count the moons, Chief. There's 2 of them. That's more than the Earth has. And he quits the bad guy team and joins the good guy team with Cheetor. Fair enough, though we have a lot to go over, so let's skip ahead a bit. Wacky adventures ensue, and Cheetor has some weird precognitive dreams that show vague ideas and hint at a jet plane coming towards them. Probably nothing. I wouldn't worry about it. Those haven't even been invented yet for like a bajillion fucking years.
So this weird alien planet they're on, pretty crazy, right? What's with it having all these earth animals and Stonehenge and stuff? Wild! We'll come back to that in a second. But Cheetor and the Rhino guy come across a stasis pod. See, the writers had to be clever about including new characters in the show. If the ships are crashing to the planet, they can't have people showing up all willy-nilly. So I guess it turns out the exploration ship Cheetor and his team were on had a bunch of baby Transformers that needed to be programmed. Bad guy Spider Guy can hack them and make more bad guys if he gets to them first, though. So some of the early episodes are just them going after a stasis pod and seeing who could get there first. Rhino Guy explains to Cheetor that all the Transformers have these things called fart, which are like glowy balls in their chest that act like souls and hearts. Pretty neat concept and was used in every Transformer story after this came out. Anyway, this pod turns out to be a girl Transformer named Air Razor, and she falls in love with a white repaint of Cheetor because animation budgets are hard, so some of the characters are just repaints of each other. They became important later.
Starscream shows up for an episode. In season 3 of the original Transformers show, he died and became a ghost, so they retcon it, saying he had a mutant immortal spark. Then he leaves.
All that Stonehenge stuff and this floating island thing and some other weird unexplained stuff finally culminates when we meet these alien ghost things called the Vok. The Vok are weird. Not that there's anything wrong with that. They created the planet and feel like it's contaminated by all these Transformer furries running around. So they got together and they're like,
You know, you joke, but that's pretty much what they did, yeah.
Oh god. So they decide to just ditch everything and start over. This is accomplished by turning one of their moons into a giant death ray and firing at the Earth. Both Transformer teams are like, oh crap. Oh man, I guess we gotta work together against a common foe for this one time. I guess that's the thing we gotta do. Work together to use one of those emptied out stasis pods as a one-man spaceship and fly it to the Death Star to stop it. Oh no. Megatron glued the door shut so that Optimus dies. These things happen.
So this moon explosion goes haywire, and it does a chain reaction that blows up most of these energon crystals, and the combination of the lasers and radiation causes a transmetal wave, which changes some of the characters into hot new toys of 1997. Transmetal Cheetor gains the ability to fly, but loses most of his fingers. Fair trade. Transmetal toys have 3 modes, but some of them are kinda lame, like Megatron's third form has roller skates. The transmetal wave damages some of the remaining stasis pods as well, so now some of the transformers that pop out are a mixture of 2 different animals. Wild. Bad guy team outnumbers good guy team, and good guy leader is gone, so bad guys stage an attack to try to kill the good guys. Rhino guy finds Optimus' spark and puts it in one of the stasis pod bodies to bring him back to life though, so season 2 can fully start.
Hey, remember how the good guys were an exploration ship, but then it turned out they had all these babies on board? Well, it turns out they also had an immortal serial killer. The serial killer has escaped! These things happen. Cheetor and the rest of the Transformers try to find the serial killer, and Optimus is like, oh yeah, so you know how Starscream was immortal? Well, we tried to do that too, and kind of tortured a criminal until he became immortal. We were secretly gonna throw him into the sun or something. Haha, anyway. So this crab guy is crazy and wants to eat the other Transformers, but they all team up to stop him and knock him out. Megatron finds him and uses a pure energon crystal knife to cut his spark in half so they can torture the cannibal into doing his bidding. The episode after that is devoted to Dinobot dying, and that's actually pretty poignant, so I can't really make a joke about that.
This season has that Transmutate episode. We talked about that already, so if you want to learn more about that, check out this video we did on the subject. Okay, so here's the big one. Ravage. That's one of Soundwave's tape cassettes from the 80s cartoon. Remember him? So he shows up. He's like, hey, I'm here to arrest the dinosaur Megatron, because he's a terrorist. And also, you guys know this is Earth, right? And this kind of throws everyone off. I mean, this can't be Earth. There's 2 moons. Earth ain't got no 2 moons. Oh, I get it. Huh. Megatron reveals to Ravage that he's on a mission planned by the 1980s Megatron, shows a hologram about it, and Ravage is like, whoa.
Decepticons forever!
And helps him out.
Okay, so here's some backstory for the 1980s cartoon real quick. The Transformers fought in a war on their home planet Cybertron before flying in space. They landed on Earth in prehistoric times and went into sleep mode, then woke up in 1984 and scanned local vehicles to get their vehicle modes. But what if, suggests Gunmetal Gray Megatron, what if some of those 1980s Transformers didn't wake up? Ravage and Dinosaur Megatron find the original crashed Autobot ship, and Megatron does this cool thing where he quotes the Bible while shooting Optimus Prime in his head. This caused a huge time warp because all the good guy Beast Wars Transformers wouldn't exist if the original Autobot didn't exist.
So, like, good thing they stopped the aliens from blowing up the planet at the end of Season 1, I guess? Alright, so Season 3. They can set up machines to fix the original Optimus Prime, but to do this, they need to take out his spark right away or he will die. They don't really have any more Blink robots to put the spark in, though. So Optimus Primal is like, I'll keep it in here, close to my heart. In Beast Wars, when 2 souls enter one body, it causes that body to mutate and change, and so Optimus Primal becomes Optimal Optimus, having a cute little cockpit thing where Optimus Prime's soul is there to drive it. Transform and roll out, he says. It's all pretty cool. Primal shows off his new bells and whistles, and somehow in the fight their original base is destroyed, so the good guys just kind of move into the Autobot ship, which is kind of cool because Optimal Optimus could not fit inside the original ship anyway, so they needed the new model. Anyway, they kind of promise to not try to affect the timeline anymore, and fucking it becomes a really crazy time travel story. Look, anyway, this Manta Ray guy shows up and he's on a mission to kill the crab guy. Lots of people traveling back in time now. Weird.
Okay, so the episode, Feral Scream. Now we're getting back to Cheetor. Remember Cheetor? This video is about Cheetor. Okay, so remember how Dinobot died and Dinosaur Megatron has half of Crab Guy's soul in a Big Mac box? Well, what if he were to clone Dinobot and shove the crab soul into it. Amazing! Cheetor gets caught in the explosion of Transmetal 2 energy as Dinobot 2 is born. I forgot to mention that Megatron had a habit of cloning this guy, but this one actually lasts a while and is kind of important. So anyway, that Transmetal 2 energy makes Cheetor go through Transformers puberty, and he starts growing hair in weird places, and also a rocket launcher, if you know what I mean.
Transmetal 2 forms have special added bonus powers, with Dinobot 2 having basic immortality. He's basically Dan Kuroto dangerous zombie form, and Cheetor can send his spark out of his body in green glowy bits to heal his body parts, a thing that might be foreshadowing to future events, but definitely isn't. The Transmetal 2 body is so enticing that bad guy Spider-Girl, who joined the good guy team, decides she wants some of the action and uses the broken machine parts to upgrade herself. Her name is Black Arachnia, and she'll be very important later on for better or worse. The machine that upgrades her won't work right unless they take out the bad guy Spider hack code from season 1, so now she's just a good guy. A good guy Spider-Girl with a nice rack, and pubescent Cheetor is having a fun time with that. Hey, animal instincts, right? This series has a lot of questions, but this one has a heavily implied answer I'd rather not think about. He had a picture of her in his room, and he just started growing hair in unusual places and gaining muscle mass and facial hair.
No, we don't have time to unpack all of that. Okay, so finishing this up real quick. Megatron takes Megatron's spark inside of himself in order to become Double Dragon Megatron, so that's not great. Meanwhile, the aliens still have that bird girl and the tiger guy, and they're like, what if Jesus? And combine them into a Christ figure. Tiger Hawk comes down, and the show becomes a religious allegory when Satan Megatron drags a Decepticon ship out of the ocean, and they both start quoting the Bible at each other. Now you're probably thinking that the Christ figure would win using transubstantiation on a dragon or something, but the show takes a dark turn, with Megatron killing him instead. Manta Ray Guy kills Crab Guy somehow, causing a ripple that makes Dinobot 2 not evil somehow, and he wrecks Megatron's plan. The good guys find a small Autobot exploratory shuttle and climb aboard, and Megatron tied on top for good measure, and now that the planet is truly wrecked beyond recognition, the Beast Wars are over and the day is saved. Time to go home. Hey, real quick, I want to talk about a transubstantiation line. I really wanted to use the word Eucharist, because then I could bring in the line Eucharist, which is the planet that the Beast Wars characters live on in the Transformers IDW comic. But unfortunately, that doesn't really make sense because I would have to say the Eucharist, and that doesn't really work for the meme we're doing where blank uses blank on a dragon. So unfortunately, I had to use transubstantiation. Fucking anyway, so then Beast Machines happens.
Now, before we talk about Beast Machines, it's important to tell you that it was a sequel to Beast Wars that had the same characters, but none of the same writing staff, and it took place entirely on Cybertron. The writing staff were told to not watch any of Beast Wars before writing the show, a decision which is bad. It was a bad decision. The characters take completely different roles. Optimus, the self-sacrificing reluctant leader of a small crew that wanted to kill an immortal serial killer science experiment by hurtling him into the sun, is now a hippie. Let's back up.
Cheetor wakes up in his season 1 cheetah body but can't transform into robot mode. What's up with that? We find out that Megatron traded in his Satan allegory for a Hitler allegory and took control of the entire planet before the good guys showed up, releasing a virus that pretty much killed everyone and then plugged himself into the world to control all these armies. Wild. Cheetor and the other good guys are fine, though, because they had the animal modes from Beast Wars and had radiation proofing. Optimus gets some weird visions and leads everyone down the planet's basement where this thing called the Oracle is like, what if you were all mushy in both modes? It looked weird. Would that help? Would that be cool if I did that? And the gang is like, can we transform? And it's like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. So it turns out they can't unless they have inner balance. It's all hippie stuff, man.
Basically, if they go to Robo mode, Hitler Dragon can see them instantly, but in Beast mode, they still have to do bodily functions like eating and sleeping. Weird trade-off, like IMHO. Cheetor's Robo mode is probably the best of the groups, though, being just him in his mid-20s, just having gone through puberty. He trades in his rocket launcher from some scimitars, though, which is weird. None of the good guys have guns in this season. The gang comes across a fruit bat, and Optimus changes him into a weird mushy transformer just like them. Gotta sell these new toys, right? But this makes Optimus real sleepy, so he puts Cheetor in charge during his nap time. Cheetor's leadership skills are ignored by his comrades, who had their own things going on.
So, then Megatron goes into his fucking Regina Mills Once Upon a Time Chamber of Souls, and he's like, I have a problem with multitasking. I have all these fucking Chrome tabs open, and I'm not looking at any of them. So here's some heart souls that can be my generals, and he picks some out to work for him. Anyway, at this point in the story, one of them is a paraplegic veteran dealing with PTSD, and the other is Black Arachnia, who is convinced this motorcycle is her boyfriend, which is stupid because it obviously is the airplane. Meanwhile, the tank guy was secretly the Rhino guy from Beast Wars the whole time, and found this key thing from the 80s cartoon that allows you to kill plants, and Optimus is being mean, and Cheetor is like, I'm not a kid, you know? The more you know. Fuck. There's a whole second season of this show.
There's a whole second season of the show, and it's so fucking forgettable. Hey, you know this video is getting really long, and Beast Machines deserves its own video, TBH, so I'm just gonna cut this short. Cheetor's story arc in this show is him growing into a leadership position, and the show ends with Optimus and Megatron both dying, and the little Transformers planet turning into this weird half-robot, half-planet mush planet, and Cheetor is the leader of it. If only we could all be so lucky.
There was a planned third TV show where Cheetor would have turned into a car and had these weird hollow wheels. It's hard to describe. This got canceled because Beast Machines wasn't well received. I know I'm sounding too harsh on the show, but the main complaint is that it had nothing to do with Beast Wars. Anyway, Cheetor has a high rank now.
Stats. Now, we could use the Transformers tech specs, but Cheetor already has one of those, so that's kind of boring. I mean, where's the fun in figuring out the stats if he just has them listed out already? So instead, we'll be looking at our conventional Care Bear stats system, which might be my new go-to stat system. I mean, I made that image in Photoshop, and it took like an hour or so. So remember, the stat system goes from 1 to 10, and let's go. To help me write out the stats, I got help from CrazyRedEmu from YouTube, and you can find his channel in the description below, as well as the little icon right here in the upper right. Go check him out.
Caring 8. When his journey began, Cheetor cared about himself first and others second. But as he fought alongside his fellow Maximals, he grew and matured, caring about his team more than how cool he looked. And when Optimus became misguided, Cheetor took control, not out of a desire for power, but to protect his fellow Maximals. Belly Badge 1. Cheetor has a Maximal symbol, and although it's cool looking, it doesn't do much. Speed 10. With a literal rocket strapped to his back, this kitty cat can reach Mach speeds on foot and even fly. Strength 6. Cheetor is a scout, not a tank, and once almost got killed by a normal organic Earth anaconda. Jump 9. What is flying if not an extended jump? However, even if you took away his flight, his speed gives an incredible long jumps, proving he has earned this stat. Heroism 10. Cheetor is willing to throw himself headfirst into any battle, even when outnumbered and outgunned, and when he is tangled in the webs of certain doom, he will put on a brave face. This cat has a true warrior spirit.
Let's read comments from last week's video, which was Ben 10 vs. Kamen Rider Decade.
CrazyRedEmu 5 days ago said a Beast Wars and Animorphs reference. Best episode.
Connor's comment is so fucking offensive. So a kid I want to get hit by a pedophile's van versus someone I want to get ran over by every rider machine ever? I'm gonna have to go with Decade.
Super Awesome Dude Face says, I think Decade would win for a little while until Ben got more of his aliens and unlocked Alien X. Edit. Oh, you said not to say him.
No Level Art 5 days ago. I never saw this episode of Beetleborgs before. It must be one of those lost episodes.
What's your favorite minicon? Like from Armada?
I like it. Most people are gonna say Leader 1, and the reason for that is because most episodes got the names wrong, and basically they named every other minicon just Leader 1. So what's your favorite Leader 1? It's just like, oh, well, my favorite is the green one from episode 305.
I like that they called it Leader 1 so that you can tell that it's the most important one.
It's the most
because it's the leader. And it's the first one because it's number 1.
It's the most important minicon of that episode, and I know that because they named it Leader 1 in that episode, which was 704. No, that's the question. Yeah, which was your favorite minicon? From Transformers Armada, Energon, or Unicron, or Universe. Those were the 4 series that had minicons. I know all the Transformers, by the way, so if you say the blue one, there's like 11 blue ones, so shut up and name an actual one.
I like the one that turned into a scooter.
Ah, yes, that was from Transformers Armada. He was orange. Everybody remember to like, comment, and subscribe to... What's your channel name?
CrazyRedEmu.
CrazyRedEmu on the YouTube.
I'll
Bye.
try to give her a jamboree because I'll make more videos eventually.